I want you to be honest with me for a second. You're not failing your exams, but you're just mid. You know your results could be better, and when you get your exam scores back, you look at it and it's like not bad, but like you have a sense in your mind when you see it that you could have done better. And there is this lingering sense in your mind that you want an academic comeback. You don't know how, because it seems like such a big jump from where you are now to what it is. It kind of feels like you have to invest so much time studying, and it seems like such a big jump. I want to tell you that none of that is true. In case you haven't met, I'm Steven, also known as JSPARK. I got these GCSE grades, these IB grades, but point being, like, those grades put me in the top percentile of students globally. I don't say that to flex, because OG viewers of mine know that I went from being like a pretty mid student, and I also kind of wanted the academic comeback, but I was scared and kind of like reluctant because I thought it would be just like such a big jump, and I always thought like, okay, that's not me. Like those kids who get good grades, that's not me, and like I don't want to invest that much time because it seems so difficult. But I want to tell you that the version of you like right now, like versus the version of you who's like doing good in school, like better and getting like the top grades, isn't as far off as you think. And in this video, like I won't be making it like colorful and like giving you like cool study tips and tricks. It's gonna be like the boring things, like just 3 things that I realized up until now, getting the grades that I have. What I realized, the only 3 things that matter that will get you an academic comeback. I promise you, if you just watch this video and you do these 3 simple things, this will get you an academic comeback. And it isn't what you might expect, but if you take these on board from someone who has gotten the highest grades there are in the highest, like most difficult subjects, I think this will be valuable and it will get you the academic comeback that you so wish. Starting with the first one, like probably the most biggest revelation and the most important thing in kickstarting my like academic comeback was realizing that I had to stop studying the subject.
Say hello to this guy.
But rather you have to study the paper. Well, so what I would used to do is like whenever like I had a subject that I was revising for, I'd go through the textbook, chapter 1, chapter 2, notes, like working forward step by step, trying to cover everything, and it felt really productive and it felt like I was learning the subject. But the thing is, my marks were always pretty bad, and the realization that I had was basically that nobody actually is testing how much biology you know. Like the exam is not a test, it's not a composite measure of your biology skills, although it should be. So what I'm trying to say is that the way you're tested is an exam paper, right? And there is a literal mark scheme that says you should reward this wording but not the other. You could literally be scientifically, like biologically correct. You can give one definition of a mitochondria and still be marked as wrong simply because the mark scheme on the paper says it's wrong, because that's how all exams are structured. At the end of the day, your grade, wherever you are, is just an examiner comparing your sheet of paper, whether that be a multiple choice circles or written answers, versus the mark scheme, and if they match, you do good, you get a good grade, and if they don't, you get a bad grade. And so realizing that and putting that at the forefront changes everything, because the kind of mindset I used to have was like I wanted to prepare myself like as much as possible, so I do all of this like biology stuff, right? But the exam is only testing like this specific portion, so all of this other stuff is great. It's like great for like general knowledge and stuff, but at the end of the day, it was a waste of time. And so my mindset shift and what I'm going to teach you guys how to do is just study exactly what is necessary, so that if the exam only like specifies this much, you only study that much, and that yields you the 100%, and it's time efficient, and it's the correct way that you should all be studying. So from now on, like the big rule when it comes to studying is always questions first. Questions. If your studying doesn't involve some sort of questions, you're studying wrong.
Don't make me ask again. Where is he?
What I want you to do is, whether it's a past paper or it's a topic like paper, or within your textbook, some of them have like questions at the end of like chapter summaries. Start with the questions, see what they're like phrasing, like even before you like learn the topic. Like read through like what it is, and so like how they're asking, like the type of questions. Are they asking multiple choice? Are they asking like long like listing things? Are they like doing 4 markers or 6 markers or like essays? To get an idea of what it is that you need to know. It's kind of like before going on an expedition, like find something, you want to know what it is that you need to find and have like a checklist, right? Instead of trying to like gather everything and then seeing what matches the checklist, right? Like, that'd be so stupid. So the point is, what I'm trying to say, so when you start with the question and then you check with the mark scheme, and then you only do what is necessary and learn what is necessary to answer the question properly by grinding past paper questions, getting good at answering in the same way as the mark scheme, and getting used to that question type, that is going to save you so much time. And that is basically the premise of an academic comeback, that just getting good at that, rinsing and repeating that cycle for every subject, starting with a question, understanding what it requires, and then once you know that, you can go and like study, revise, like use videos, etc. But at the forefront of everything, like all these study YouTubers, they always focus on like the acquiring knowledge stage, right? Like like how to like study like effectively, like all of how to like the best ways to do like YouTube videos or like flashcards, like that's all great, but those are all just tools to fill your lack of knowledge. You should only be filling what is necessary for the exam, right? And that starts by you starting with questions, past paper questions, and looking actually what the mark scheme requires. Hope that makes sense. And I understand like this might sound pretty alien, and it's pretty counterintuitive as well. Going for a textbook is like calm and it feels like studying, and you're highlighting, you're going through it in a linear order. When you make notes as well, you have like a physical end result, right? You end up with a page of notes, and it feels like you're studying. Whereas what I'm telling you to do, doing a like past paper code, just like doing questions and or like like active recall and that kind of stuff, you get nothing out of that, and so it kind of feels like you're not studying and it's not going in. But what you really need to do, and so this is kind of like action step that I want you guys to do right now, that before school starts, or what you want to do like right now for your subject, is to go and download the mark schemes and the specification for the subject that you take. And editor will show you exactly how easy it is to find that. You should just search it up. It's free and it takes like 10 minutes to find for all of your subjects. But most students go to the full 2 years, the full 4 years of their subject course without ever looking at the document that literally decides their grades. So get friendly with past papers, their mark scheme, and the subject guides, and all of your revision should be based on that. And I guess I really want this to stick. So kind of like what everything I've talked about now is kind of like knowing what it is you need to gather. So for example, you're going on to like a mountain expedition to gather berries, right? You want to know exactly like what berries you need, so you have the checklist by looking at the like mark schemes, the examiner reports, and doing past paper questions. That's like the first step. But now you know what it is you need to collect. Now you need to do the collecting stage. Now, what is the most efficient way to collect? And that is what like study methods are, right? But the problem I had was that, so I had the checklist, right? I knew like kind of what I needed to do. So for chemistry, for example, like GCSE chemistry, I really remember going through the mark scheme, and I just noticed that they were all like testing pretty much like 4 and 6 markers, basically just testing your knowledge in a series of like these like extended writing responses. And so that was okay, but then how did I actually like get that in my brain? Because I go over the topic and I thought I knew it, but then 2 weeks later, whenever the test came, I like completely didn't have any of it in my brain. And the reason is because my revision was just passive and I was just rereading. And so how to actually make sure that you're gathering, and more importantly, not just getting the knowledge, but making sure it sticks. Because if you just like reread your notes, sure, you'll be able to recall it like 30 seconds after putting the notes away, but 5 minutes, 10 minutes after, you'll never be able to recall that again, right? So the longevity of remembering like what it is that you study, that's also important. And that basically just comes from another one single principle that I want you to know, is that make sure your retrieval is active. Studying isn't putting knowledge in, studying is forcing it out. So what I mean by that is that I've done countless analogies around this on my channel, but pretty much students think that you want to like absorb as much knowledge as possible and that's all going in, but really you need to be able to test like what has gone in, and the way to do that is by taking it out. If you try to recall something, like okay, so without any like sort of like notes or textbooks, oh yeah, okay, so what are the like 6 steps of photosynthesis, for example, and you can recall that. That's how you know it's being good study, not like just what you read, but making sure you're practicing like pulling it out and retrieving it. And I'd recommend you like go look at my other videos about this, because like active forms of revision is pretty like broad. There are a lot of like different methods that you can use in different subjects, but once you have this in mind, it's pretty simple. And the main quick fire things is that use flashcards to memorize things, because they are like it's retrieval built in. Do questions and practice papers because they require you to take out knowledge to try and mold that in the format of an answer to a question, right? And so that's a really good way to test yourself. And also teach it, Feynman technique. Those are like the big 3, the 3 musketeers that I always advocate for, and that's basically all you need. Your revision, or if you center around all of that, I'm proof of it, right? You can get the top grades in any subject. And so I talked about like the mindset shift, and then how to actually like properly like no BS, like the bare bones basic of how to properly study and make sure it sticks. But the last thing I want to talk about, and it's really like the only necessary thing that's really required to do an academic comeback, and I think it's the one thing that stops the most students, and it's actually nothing to do with studying at all, but it simply is external factors, right? And what I mean by that is like I did a survey, right, on like all of my students, like 30,000 students took part, and I asked them like what describes what best describes where you're at, and the most common answer that 62% of students said, I know exactly what I should do, so they like fulfilled steps 1 and 2, but they still don't do it. That was the most common answer. That was the biggest problem, and it was also mine. And the biggest reason for all of this is pretty much it comes down to procrastination, right? But namely your phone. You can know the best way to study, you can have the ideas that I talk to you about, right? Like how to study effectively, the best ways to like recall and make sure that your knowledge sticks, but if you don't do it, it's pointless. And the biggest reason that students don't do it is that they find studying boring. They're always on their phones, etc., right? And so for me, I knew the thing that would be stopping me the most would be my phone, and specifically like TikTok, Instagram, all of these apps, right? And I've made countless videos about like how to kind of build a healthier relationship with those and how to like optimize those, like when you're a student. So I recommend you check out those videos. But pretty much like studying, like now that I've like done this so many times and I got the grades, I can basically just say that it's like always a balance, and it's always like a juggling between this, like the external factors, your phone and like fun stuff, versus study. That's the kind of balance and like the kind of choice that you're always faced with, and we always kind of going like that down the wrong path. And I tried so many like different strategies, right? I promise you, I tried deleting them, I tried like all of these apps, and they all do work to an extent. But the biggest thing that I can do, like it's not Pomodoro, it's not like doing like scroll breaks, it's simply just making the studying easier and making the scrolling and other things harder to do. Right now, like basically how your brain works is that it chooses the path of least resistance, and so it's scrolling and doing Netflix is really easy, whereas studying you made it really hard. And you kind of think of, and making it hard, by the way, like physically means that like it's difficult for you to do, but it's also how difficult you think it is going to be. If you tell yourself studying is going to be boring, it's going to take a long time, that is physically making it harder to do, and it makes Netflix scrolling the more appealing choice. And so what you want to do is you want to make studying feel like an easier task by physically making it easier to do. So quick fire things, having your like knowing exactly what it is you're going to do when you study, having the same like study space, knowing where all your resources are, minimizing friction. That's some like the physical things, but the mental thing as well is learning how to study efficiently, because if it takes less time, you realize like, oh wait, studying is actually not that bad. It doesn't take that much time, because if studying like drags on and takes a lot of time, you associate that like fatigue, tiredness with studying, and you don't want to end up doing it. Hence, watch my videos on my channel about how to study faster in less time, and I promise you, you're going to enjoy studying more, and it's going to become the choice that you are more likely to do. Whereas for the phones and the external factors like scrolling, Netflix, all these other things, you're procrastinating activities, make them more difficult to do. When you're studying in your study space, you should never have your phone around on you. This is where you want to use like the app blockers and stuff. On my computer where I do my work, I make sure I've blocked YouTube and all of these things. I promise you, it seems like crazy, but like there's this I can't believe I forgot the name of the model, but it's like the Fog BJ model, right? Editor put it on the screen. Basically, it's like there's so many principles in like studies pretty much proving the amount of friction, like even if it's like something that you want to do, like, and it's really fun, scrolling's fun, right? If it's difficult to do, you won't end up doing it. Hence, keep your phone away in another room. Make it more difficult to do. Set a block of studying, like you'll study for 30 minutes without any distractions, and then you can do the other thing later. Point is, out of reach and do all of these physical things, and you basically want to do the opposite things that I talked about with studying for the external factors, and just kind of make it so that you choose the studying part a little bit more, like 10-20% more than the other thing. And it's just that repetition of getting the reps in that basically all studying is. And also, like, speaking of making studying like easier and more fun, that's why actually me and a few of my friends, we actually built this app called Focus Town, and you can download it on your phone. It's an app, but basically what it does is that you can study together with your friends, and it kind of gamifies studying. You sit down with your friends or like other random strangers online, and it turns studying from this like kind of traditional like boring thing, right, into kind of gamified and fun thing that you look forward to, because there's like cosmetics, you get rewarded for the amount of time you study. And it also like, it's like a bonus because you can't use your phone when you have it on, because it's like a study timer. It blocks all other apps, so that's good in the sense that you're not going to be able to like scroll like when you study, right? It's like, yeah, both of those benefits in one. And also, since it's back to school season, we're running this competition on Focus Town to see who can study the most. And there are some great prizes, and yes, like if you join, there's also a random person will win a free iPad Pro like study pack as well. So it's a pretty great way to keep us motivated and get back into the habit of studying. Make sure you join the challenge, like join the server, then you press join the challenge, as you can see on the screen. And yeah, I'll hopefully see a lot of you guys in there, and yeah, let's get studying. But anyway, like in terms of the academic comeback thing, right, like you guys might have expected, and like I watched my fair share of videos about academic comebacks, and I've made my fair share of videos trying to make like them glamorous and like promote all of these cool study tips, because they get views and they kind of are novel in the sense that like when you study in this like new way, you kind of feel like, okay, this is the academic comeback, but it's boring, but this is what will get you an academic comeback. It's these three things. It's making sure that you know the principle behind why you're studying to make sure you're like not wasting your time, and that's the first thing. And then it's knowing how to study and making sure the knowledge sticks. And then thirdly, it's making sure that you are going to be doing those first two things that I just mentioned by leveraging choice architecture and just making it so that you will do the reps, because studying at the end of the day is just getting in the reps and repetition of doing the right thing, which you now know. But then once you keep doing that and repeating it, that is basically all studying is, and it's the only thing that really I did to get the grades that I did. I think people overcomplicate it. I promise you, if you follow that, if you start learning how to study effectively and kind of like invest time in learning how to learn and this kind of thing, it will reward you indefinitely, and it will pay you dividends in the amount of value you will get by making your school life easier. So hope you found this video useful. Go watch another one of my videos. Make sure to check out Focus Town, free app. You might see me there studying as well in like my own, in like the study rooms. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.